Hello and welcome back to the Matrix Green Pill podcast. I'm your host, Hilmarie Hutchison, and today's guest is a powerhouse entrepreneur, business coach, global speaker, and digital marketing expert who's redefining what it means to build with purpose and empower others. Brittany Garth Freeman is the founder and CEO of Pinq Inc., a multi-location digital marketing agency working with woman-centric brands. I love that. She's a TEDx speaker, Forbes Coaches Council member, and the first person in the US to receive a life coaching industry proclamation from the governor of Virginia. Her journey from nearly homeless to internationally recognized has inspired audiences on stages like Amazon Prime's The Blocks, the Women's Economic Forum, and Cornell University. Wow. Amazing. Brittany, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
So, Brittany, let's start with your journey. Could you please tell our audience a little bit about yourself and your background?
Absolutely. So I started my journey into digital marketing in 2014. That seems like a super long time ago. And my goal initially when I went to university was actually not to be an entrepreneur. It was not to own any type of marketing company. It was to actually be a social worker and a therapist. At the time in 2014, I was living in my dream job, if you will, after graduating, and it was a nonprofit. And unfortunately, that nonprofit lost all of its funding, which meant that technically I was out of job at the time. But the agency still wanted me to come in. They still want me to work with them, even though I was not getting paid at the time, which now sounds absolutely crazy. So I worked there for several months, unpaid. And I learned something while, of course, my savings account is being depleted. Recently just purchased a car, recently just purchased a home. I'm learning that, you know what, maybe this dream that I had for myself to work and have this particular role is not what I need to be doing. Maybe I need to look into something else. Because again, my savings account is getting depleted. And fast forward, I decided that I wanted to take the skills that I had at the time, and I wanted to work exclusively with women at the time. I wanted to empower women. It first started off with starting a business of life coaching. I was coaching so many amazing women around the world. And within the first, I'll say maybe 9 months, I really was able to grow the business online, had a really strong presence via social media. And I noticed that the clients were saying, I don't want you just to empower me. I want you to teach me how in the world were you able to build this business with very low money in the beginning? Because like I said, I was definitely nearly homeless in the beginning because, again, I was working at a job for several months that was not paying. We're getting ready to foreclose on my home, my car, all these things. And that's when the shift, that green pill moment, if you will, happened for me. Went from empowering women to now I want to help women to build these empires via their business and marketing around the world. So that's truly how we got started, and we've been able to scale at a pretty fast rate. We're in 3 different locations now. We have a location in London that we opened about 2.5 years ago. We've been in Atlanta for a while, which is here in the US. And we also have a location in Miami, which is probably one of my favorite offices to have. And we've worked with so many amazing brands in the beauty industry, e-commerce brands, hospitality brands, transportation brands. We've worked with Hilton Hotels, Hyatt Hotels. But again, it all started from making a decision that I wasn't going to be a victim. I was going to be the victor in my own story and build the business that we have today.
Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. So just to make it really clear, what was the turning point that took you from struggling entrepreneur to build this 7-figure global brand?
It really came from the clients I was serving in that first 12 months of being in business. I had this idea that my clientele, or what I wanted to do, was to empower them via life coaching. And even though it was working for them, they wanted to more so learn about how to build a brand, how to market their brand, no matter what their budget was at the time. So that was a turning point for me because, again, I learned about marketing on my own. And now I've had skills, of course, from working with other people and being the director of other companies, but I hadn't actually done it on my own. So I learned about marketing on the fly, if you will. I knew I had a very limited budget. So I had no option but to focus on organic marketing at the time, right? I didn't have an ad budget. I couldn't, afford influencers at the time. So I learned. I read a lot of books, able to test different theories to see what worked. And because it worked for me, people then wanted to hire me to do it for them, if that makes sense.
Others could see that you were so successful in running your business once you had that mindset shift, and others wanted to tap into that and to see how they could realize success in their businesses as well. And that then was the birth of what you were going to do to help others. You're deeply passionate about supporting women-owned businesses. You mentioned that in the beginning. So tell us a little bit about Pinq University and the vision behind paying students tuition.
Absolutely. So Pinq University was birthed about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And it came from a place that as we were scaling, I noticed that our clientele were actually changing. Went from working with the solo entrepreneurs that were just trying to get their footing with building a brand and, marketing themselves online. And I'm very thankful for that. We're able to work with established brands that are now at the point of scale in the marketplace. And, they're looking to do things globally. But I didn't want to leave behind the clientele that we initially started off with 11 so years ago. And that's where Pinq University came from. Because again, my goal is always going to be about supporting women, no matter, what level that they're at financially. What I remember, again, when I started myself, I didn't have funding, I didn't have any mentorship. I didn't have a lot of things. And with Pinq University, it's completely free for women who, again, were me 11 years ago, where they don't have the funding, but they need the mentorship. They need these different classes. They can't afford to invest into different things. So it's all there for them. Everything is self-paced. The different certificates of completion as they complete different coursework. There's at least, maybe like 50 different classes in Pinq University that are already pre-recorded. And then they also have some time with me as they make it through the program. It's just an hour, but it still gives them that time to ask those questions live with me at no cost to them so that, again, they can get their questions answered and that they can attempt to scale their business as far as they can go with the information that we're providing.
That's absolutely lovely that you have created a solution. That's the secret to success, right? Finding a gap, finding a need, and then filling that gap. And that you are doing this for women to help them through that difficult period is absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
What is your approach when working with women-centric brands that want to scale but feel stuck in a crowded digital space?
The main thing that I start off with them is because a lot of times they'll come to me with something that they've seen go viral online or on TikTok, and they say, oh, I want to be able to do the same thing. And I always start with, hey, it's not about going viral. Going viral is one entity of powerful marketing, right? It can essentially assist you with reach, but it's not necessarily going to help you with scale. So making sure that I am centering their expectations is the number one thing. A lot of times with us as women, we're visual. So we may compare our business or what we look like or what we have going on to other brands. So I want to first make sure that they are crystal clear on what true marketing is and what is required in order to scale. And a lot of times it's not just what you're doing on your TikTok and on your Instagram. It's the behind the scenes stuff, right? It's having systems in place. It's having funnels in place. It's making sure that we're getting clear with who your target audience is and who your niche is. And do you have powerful products that are actually product market fit? So those are the things that we most of the time start off with our women-centric brands.
Yes, and you said the number one thing was to set expectations for them to help to understand what certain things can achieve and what it can't achieve.
Absolutely. Everybody wants to become a global billionaire overnight. It can happen, but not overnight, right? You got to have the tools. You have to have the actual system in place to make it to wherever it is that you're looking to go. Nothing is overnight right now. So setting expectations is truly where you have to start.
Absolutely. They're not relying just on one thing, but understanding that you have to have those systems and funnels in place to support the rest of the growth as well.
Absolutely.
You've spoken on global stages like TEDx Ghana and the Women's Economic Forum. What's one message you always hope to leave your audience with?
People to make sure that they are feeling empowered and that they are feeling equipped. It's a very lonely road as an entrepreneur and sometimes just as a woman in general. And a lot of times we have to learn to really boost ourselves up, if you will. I'm a very big advocate on being your biggest cheerleader because it is a lonely road. I don't care how many team members you have. It's tough, right? And your business is your baby and it is your responsibility. I'm a real big advocate on making sure that you're saying the right things to yourself and you're pouring back into yourself as much as possible because it can be tough, but you can't let your emotions to dictate what you're going to do about your future.
I think that's excellent insight to become your own cheerleader because at the end of the day, it comes down to you to be ready to support yourself. I like that. That's really good. Tell us about your coaching certification program. How did that come to life and how is it helping shape the next generation of coaches?
We had this program, I want to say about year 2 or year 3 of starting the business a few years ago. Came from, I was no longer doing life coaching for our clientele. It was all centered on all about business and marketing. But we still had folks that said, look, I saw what you were able to do as a coach. I need you to train me on this. How can I also do this as well? So we took about a year to create this program that I want to say was about 8 weeks. I had to get additional certifications as well. As a life coach, I had to become something called ICF certified. Even though we were already busy with the business and marketing side of the brand, about once a week, we did this program with women from all over the world virtually. And we were able to teach them in the 8-week program. And eventually, I want to say in 21, I no longer offer it because it's now licensed at the university level, where now colleges license out the program and they now have the certification program at their university. But what it has done for women and men also are able to take the program now, it's giving them an additional skill, if you will, to now become a certified life coach. That's what we've been able to do with that particular program.
Let's talk a little bit about influencer marketing. It is certainly changing rapidly. What trends and challenges should entrepreneurs be watching out for right now?
Right now, I would definitely say whatever you were doing with influencer marketing in the beginning, or even as soon as last year, that strategy needs to change. It used to be the thing to get some type of super popular celebrity style influencer to be the front of your marketing strategy. Whereas now people aren't really converting with that. It's all about organic and it feeling authentic. I would say you have the budget to get that type of influencer, fine and well, but you really want to put your marketing dollars, your budget, if you will, for influencer marketing with a lot of UGC creators, people that look like your customers, your everyday person, people that are truly just using the product or the service and getting a true review. And lifestyle content is leading right now. Really, no matter what the industry is, lifestyle-based content from influencers is what is leading, not just someone, pulling the product out of the box and, hey, this is great, you should buy it too. That's not working anymore. So it's all about leading with authentic creators, not creators that have millions of followers. That's not really working like it used to.
And that's actually quite good for smaller businesses because you don't have to find those huge dollars to pay those big influencers. You can be selective and find those authentic voices that can represent the brand, but it's not going to break the bank to be able to bring them on board.
Exactly. Yep.
What tips would you give to women who are not sure if they should take on the challenge to become entrepreneurs?
I would definitely say you want to get clear, right, before you become an entrepreneur because it is a 24/7 job. It can't be a hobby if you want it to go somewhere, right? So I would definitely say start there. I always say if you can, make sure that your business, or at least your first business, if you will, is something that is not just profitable, but is also something that you're in some shape or form passionate about. Because it's going to require so much from you financially. It's going to require so much of your time. It's going to require so much of, your mindset. So if it's something that at least you're passionate about, and of course it's going to turn a profit, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to want to commit and to see it through. Because the first year of business, really, they say the first 5 years of business is going to be your most difficult. And if you're not passionate about it, you can't dream, you can't see past what's in front of you at the current moment. It is going to be difficult for you to want to continue on with that business.
Yes, that makes absolute sense. Yes, of course, you want a business to make money, but as you say, you're going to put so much time into it. You need to be passionate about it to sustain it because nothing worse than doing something that's boring or that you hate, even for all the money in the world. Just not worth it.
It's just not worth it. You're not going to put your best effort into this business.
Let's talk a little bit about your role as a recurring coach and judge on Amazon Prime's The Blocks. What has that experience been like for you, being in front of the camera and mentoring live?
I'll tell you this, it is grueling filming an entire season of a show in a matter of 7 to 8 days because you literally are filming from sun up to sundown. I'm talking about like 8 hour, 10-hour days. But the payoff, I'll say, is the coaching part. Where we're at now with our business, I don't have as much time to do the coaching that I used to do all the classes that I used to. So that really gives me that chance to coach and to teach for hours on end with this show that is on Amazon Prime. So The Blocks is an entrepreneur competition show, and it's where entrepreneurs from all over the US, they gather and they have these days filled with learning, and then they actually compete based upon what they've just learned. And then I'm coaching them through, hey, you should do this, change this part before you present tonight, in efforts for everyone that I was able to coach to actually win their pod for the day. And then at the end, they're able to become the top entrepreneur of that particular season, and they walk away with a cash prize. So it is very rewarding that, someone that you've coached actually may be the person that wins the show and wins the cash that they can, of course, turn and put back into their business.
So exciting. And they chose a perfect person in you to be that judge and coach. So excellent job.
Thank you so much.
Let's talk about Pinq Inc. again. What is next for you and for Pinq Inc.? And are there any exciting or new projects or goals on the horizon?
Oh my goodness, yes. So Pinq Inc., every year I have this rule where I like to be innovative and we need to add something, if you will. So one of the things that we added this year that we literally just launched last week is called our CEO Social Club. Initially, this idea came from, we just wanted to have networking opportunities for our clients because a lot of times with entrepreneurs, and I'm sure you may know, it can be lonely, right? You don't have a lot of time to network and to socialize and do different things. So this club, in essence, has opportunities for them to attend private mixers that we're going to have throughout the US and throughout the UK. Hopefully we can bring one to Dubai also, but it also gives them those classes that I was mentioning before that I absolutely love doing. There's a monthly class that comes with the social club. It also gives them access to some of our travel, wellness, and tech partners. A lot of our clients, when they're traveling, they want to be able to utilize some type of lounge at the airport. They want to be able to not use an Uber. They want to use a helicopter or a private chauffeur. We have accumulated all of these different partnerships for them where they can access these different discounts and partnerships also. And it includes different funding grants, and it includes different partnerships for those of them who may also be influencers. So it comes with a wealth of different things that our clients may need, and even some of those non-clients that are entrepreneurs. It's all now in this social club. So we've had a great response, a little bit more than what I expected in just the last 7 days. So that's one thing that we have just done. Another thing that we're gearing up for is annually we have something called an international marketing mastermind that is happening at our London office. So I'll be headed to our London office for a couple of weeks for that mastermind and to just kind of pour back into our UK team. So that's what we're working on right now and getting really excited about 2026.
Sounds exciting. Lots happening. The CEO Social Club sounds really good. Congratulations on starting that and having such a positive response in such a short time. As you say, that opportunity to network with like-minded people sort of at that same level is absolutely so important. So looking forward to when you bring it to Dubai.
Yes, absolutely. You'll be the first person I reach out to.
Now we've come to the segment of our show where I will ask you some rapid fire questions, our version of a game show, and you're the expert on game shows. Are you ready?
I am ready.
A mantra that keeps you grounded.
It's probably something simple like be yourself. I'm very big on just being yourself.
A dream client or brand you haven't worked with yet.
Because we love fashion over here. So I'd probably say Pretty Little Things. They're more so UK based, but I know they're doing a lot of rebranding. I would love to get my hands on that particular brand for their marketing efforts.
Lovely. So if any of our listeners know somebody to put you in touch, there's the opportunity. What does empowerment mean to you?
So I know I hinted at this earlier, but I think empowerment is an inside job. I think we shouldn't rely too much on others empowering us. That's great if we have that, but it should be really self-centered as far as our empowerment. What are we saying to ourselves? What are we doing for ourselves to make sure that we are showing up as our best self? So that's what empowerment is to me.
A book or podcast that inspires you?
I love, I believe it's Emma Roberts. She just started a brand new podcast. She's out of the UK also, and she also is part owner of Skims. I may be saying her last name wrong, but I love her podcast. And as far as books, I'm really loving Alex Hormozy's newest book that he just released. I think it's a $100 million deal. Love him and his wife's books also, Leah Hormozy.
What is one thing that you do every day, no matter how busy you get?
I start off every day with prayer and Pilates. So the two P's, always showing my gratitude, always making sure that I'm staying centered with my Savior and also making sure I'm staying active because again, like to pour back into myself. And one thing about Pilates, it does really allow you to focus on your movements. You're moving slow, but you're also building muscle at the same time. So those two things for sure.
Very good. Well, thank you for playing along. That was easy enough. Now, I would like to ask you our signature green pill question. I think you might have touched on this, but could you share an inspiring or life-changing experience that you have gone through, your green pill moment?
I initially would always say that it was definitely going from working that 9 to 5 from the job that I thought was my dream job and then now building my dream business. I would have to say, if I had to choose another one, in 2020, we had the pandemic. I feel like everyone had the pandemic, but I know for me, I had an actual physical location. I had a co-working space. It was one of the largest ones in Central Virginia, and it was a big deal. I had put in all this money into this co-working space, and we were thriving and things were great. And then the pandemic hit. In Virginia at the time, I mean, they had a total shutdown. There was nothing you could do if you had an actual physical, storefront. This business that I had that I was so proud of, and I spent hours there every day, had to be closed. And it went from being closed from one day, now it's 1 month, to us being closed for 9 months. Which, again, if you own any type of physical location, you already know what happened there. And it was devastating to me. And I thought, I'm never going to have another physical location again. I never want to do this again. But that also ended up being the same year that our profits tripled, not doubled, but tripled. What I learned was that I was powerful enough to pivot, that we weren't just crumbling. We weren't just going to let the odds happen to us and, feeling like a victim. We had to learn to pivot at that very moment. And not only, the profits go up from that, we were able to focus a lot more on our other services, which is where, again, the profit increasing came from. So another green pill moment for me is not giving up, even though things kind of looked very shaky at the time. You just have to pivot.
Well, that's an amazing story. Thank you for sharing that for us. As you said, when things get difficult, easy to want to give up. They take the easier road, but hang in there and find a new way. As you said, pivot and then get through it and come out stronger on the other end. Every lesson, no matter how difficult, is an opportunity to learn and to grow.
Absolutely.
Brittany, thank you so much for joining me today. Well, your journey from nearly homeless to a globally recognized CEO is more than inspiring. It's a roadmap for resilience, generosity, and building a business that lifts others as it grows. I love that.
Thank you so much.
Before we wrap up, where can our listeners connect with you or learn more about Pinq Inc. and your programs?
Anywhere on social media, Pinq Inc., which is Pinq Inc. And I also have my own personal page on social media as well. And it's under I am Brittany Freeman. And that's Instagram. And if you're looking to learn more about our business and our services and our clients, definitely head on over to our website, which is www.pinqinc.com. Again, Pinq. And of course, I love connecting on LinkedIn also. And again, it's just my name, Brittany Freeman.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Matrix Green Pill podcast. If Brittany's story moved you, please subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. It means the world to us. Until next time, lead with vision, give generously, and never underestimate being your own cheerleader.
If you enjoy our conversations, please like and subscribe. See you next Wednesday.